course webinar will be led by our presenter, Nick Crowder. Nick Crowder is the author of the Golden Handoff, How to Buy and Sell a Real Estate Agent's Business. Nick has been a top realtor since 2006 in the Portland, Oregon market. Nick is an also avid golfer, writer, reader, talker, and still gets up early, excited about what each day has to hold. We are very excited to have Nick present. So let's get started. I'm going to turn things over to our presenter. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really passionate about this topic, and that's part of why I ended up writing a book about this, and I'm really excited to share this with realtors all over the country today and demystify the process of retiring from real estate and give you a really great framework for how to build a business that has value when you're ready to retire, and some great strategies to grow your business if you're still looking to add clients and continue to grow your practice. So here's some quotes from some different thought leaders in the real estate industry about the book. I started working on this in 2010. It won the Bronze Award for Robert Bruss, which is Real Estate Editors and Publishers, in the year that it came out, which was a big honor because it was independently published and stood on its own merit. Toby Salgado, who is an agent and thought leader in the real estate industry, has interviewed a ton of agents and really felt like this was something that should be required reading. So here we are. We have a problem. There's two problems really in real estate. The first one starts on day one and goes for your whole career, and that's how do I grow a business? How do I get my first client? How do I get listings? How do I help buyers? How do I build a team? How do I become and remain profitable and stay in the business? And I'm going to give you the ways that this model, the Golden Handoff, can help you dramatically grow your business and also be able to work by referral. And if we were all in a room together, which unfortunately we're not able to do today, I would ask if everyone would rather work by referral or cold call, and I bet everyone's hands will go up, as they always do, that we would, of course, love to work by referral if only we would have enough referrals to hit our goals. But there's a second problem, and this is the one that really hasn't been solved until I wrote this book, and that is, how do I retire from real estate? The problem with real estate agents is that 99% of people who are in real estate, when they're done, they just simply walk away from their business. Now, they've spent years and years, sometimes decades, building relationships, building a database and a client list of people that know and trust them and that refer them and that work with them year in, year out, and with, sometimes generations of the same family. And so there's a question of, how do I retire? And I started helping other agents by managing their client list and adopting their clients in 2010. And I was actually looking for how to better improve my model of what I was doing. And the more people I spoke with, the more people encouraged me to write a book, since I had created a process and repeated it and had success with it. Now, the Golden Handoff helps you solve both of these problems. Number one, when you adopt a client list or a database from an agent who's retiring, you're growing exponentially, and you're growing by referral. Now, if you ask people why they don't focus on referrals, it's because there's an idea that referrals are not scalable the same way that advertising and marketing and prospecting are. With advertising, if you have an ad that works, and you spend $1 and you make $3, you can continue to increase your ad budget as high as you want, as long as it's returning more than it costs, and you can grow your business very rapidly. But again, with that, those are cold leads, those are prospects, they're not really referrals. But what if, instead of looking at a traditional referral, which is, let's say you're an agent in Texas and you have a client moving to Portland, Oregon, where my team and I work, you could call us up and refer us a client, and we send one referral fee. We get one buyer client. It's a great deal. Your clients are happy, but it's really just one client. Now, that's very different than if you take, for example, an agent who's retiring that has a client list of 300 clients that they've worked with in their career. Now I have a referral agreement to help 300 people. So instead of one agent sending one referral, I have an agreement with one agent to help all of their clients. In this case, for example, 300. So if you let that sink in, you can see how powerful this is when you start helping folks who want to retire from real estate. Now, a lot of brokerages are using this model as a way to keep their client share or their market share, because the value of a brokerage is based on the value of all of their agents' combined businesses. And so if you look at a brokerage A and they've got 10 agents, you look at, okay, and if each of those agents does 10 million, that brokerage is doing 100 million a year. Versus if you have brokerage B and they have 100 agents and they're all doing 10 million a year, you've got a $1 billion a year business. And what is the value of an agent's business? Well, I would argue it's not just their total production in a year, but it's really the number of their clients that are repeat clients and the number of clients that are referrals. So when you look at that, the people that are repeat and referral clients are the ones that are most likely to come back and work with that agent in the future. And all of the people that they meet in the process of running their business, from doing open houses to calling the neighborhood to marketing to a farm, that's all business you're still adding to the database, people that you're growing your business, but those aren't necessarily clients. So if you ask yourself, how long would it take me to grow my business by 300 clients? So in this example, you have a referral agreement with an agent who wants to retire. They've got 300 clients. And you go, okay, well, how long is it going to take me to add 300 clients? And again, I don't mean leads. I mean clients. So that's a really important distinction here, that what we're talking about is people that have bought and sold or referred you a client, not just a list of people you met at an open house, not a list of internet leads, but actual real clients. And the truth is, if it took that agent their whole career to add 300 clients to their database, you're basically leapfrogging ahead by an entire career of that other agent. So if it took them 10 years to build a business with 300 past clients and people that refer, you're basically getting a 10-year head start or a 10-year boost to your business. So my story, as I mentioned, goes back to 2008. I started doing real estate in 2006 in Portland, Oregon. I was new to the area, and I fell in love with the real estate business, and I worked really hard and grew a business and built a team. But in 2008, when the financial crisis hit, a lot of really good agents started to get out of the business, people that I looked up to, people that had mentored me. And one of them was Renee. And Renee is in the book. She's a real person here in Portland. And actually, I have a listing going live tomorrow from one of Renee's clients. So this is something I'm still doing today, and we're still helping people and benefiting from these agreements. So in 2010, Renee decided to get out of the real estate business. And it was a mix of the market and also the fact that she had had a second child and wanted to get back to a career that would afford her evenings and weekends where she wasn't on call. And so I approached Renee about helping her clients. And at the time, I didn't really have an idea of what I would do specifically, but I thought, I'll stay in touch with your people and I'll pay you a referral fee. And wouldn't that be great for both of us? And she chose a different agent because she wanted to help someone out. I was doing very well. There was another agent she was friends with whose business was struggling. And so she decided to work with him. And for anyone that's heard me speak before, I have a favorite saying, and that is, if someone is doing bad business and you give them more clients, they're not going to suddenly be good at business. They're going to simply just do poor business practices with more people. And unfortunately, that's what happened. After 6 months, she was very frustrated because she continued to have to answer questions, go to appointments, fill out paperwork because the agent she had asked to help wasn't confident enough to do that and wasn't following up frequently enough with her clients. And so after 6 months, she brought me in and we took over. We sent out an announcement. We worked out a referral agreement. All of that became basically the foundation for the Golden Handoff And a lot of the information in the book came out of that first agreement, which I've used over and over and over again with other agents when we've adopted their clients. So I started helping Renee's clients. It was a very successful endeavor for both of us. She was getting $3,000 to $5,000 a month in referral fees. It helped me go from doing $12 million a year in sales to 24, and helped me grow my team as well. Now, at the time, I was part of Keller Williams, and in 2008, there was about 750 offices, and we reached out to all of them because I figured there had to be other folks in the real estate world and other markets that were doing the same thing. And what I was shocked to find out is that there wasn't. The response from that was almost unanimously that no one had any idea what we were talking about, and no one was doing that in other markets. So I reached out to CEOs of companies all over the country. I reached out to coaches, thought leaders, and asked, hey, I'm doing this referral agreement to help take over people's businesses when they retire. Is anyone else doing this that I can talk to? And most of them basically said, that's a great idea. No one's doing that. If you figured it out, you should write a book about it. And so naively, I thought it would take me just a little while to write a book. 3 short years later, the Golden Handoff was published. I'm very proud that I finished that book so that it's there for everyone to use and for now and forevermore. But what I learned is this. There is a false idea among agents when they retire that people will continue to call them and that they can refer those people to their friends and peers at their brokerage. And the truth is that all of us, our biggest hurdle to having a successful business is staying in touch with our clients to convince them that we are still in business. There's a lot of turnover in real estate. People generally think that you are either already retired or you're too busy to help them. And most of our marketing efforts are meant to show our clients and potential clients that we're here to help them. And so if you want to have success, you have to be active. Passive marketing does not work. You cannot just wait for the phone to ring. You cannot just wait for people to call you. You have to be active. And the reason the Golden Handoff works so well is that when you decide you don't want to call your clients, send the newsletters, host client parties, teach classes, go on appointments, someone needs to do that. And the adopting agent is the person that takes over when you're ready to retire and does all of the things that you used to do to be successful. Call your clients, send the newsletters, stay in touch. So I haven't mentioned David yet, but he's another character in the book, also a real person, and his story is very different. I don't want people to think that the only way to be successful is to go and try to find all of the agents that have been doing it the longest, that are the oldest in the office, and ask them when they're going to retire. Because there's a lot of successful realtors that either relocate for work or for their spouse's work, decide to change careers, decide to take a break. In David's case, he had an opportunity to work on a movie in LA. That was a dream of his. And he knew he would not be able to do both. He could not continue to sell real estate in Portland if he was in LA working on a movie, the time demands of which are incredibly high. And so I had heard that he was leaving. At the time, we were probably both 6 years into our business. We're both about the same age, and we both have a background in the arts. And so I reached out to David, and I explained what I was doing for other folks, and he thought it was a great idea because he had been looking for a solution. He didn't want to give up his business, but he knew he couldn't manage it, and I provided a very easy solution where I would take care of all of his clients while he was gone. And then if and when he decided to come back, I would hand his client database back to him. So sometimes this can be temporary. Sometimes it's permanent. In the case of Renee, she retired and she is not going back into real estate. But with David, he decided to come back, and we did quite a bit of business. So year one, I added $2.5 million in sales. We made an additional $60,000. I think at the time I was doing $8 or $9 million in sales a year, so it was a substantial increase. Year two, we took over David's business. We did $6.5 million in sales that year just from adopted clients. That's in addition to our normal sales, and it created another $162,000 in revenue. Now, a third of that went back to my retiring agents. So we paid back over $60,000 in referrals fees to those agents just that year. Year 3, David came back. We added another smaller database of about 200 clients, and it continued to increase our revenues year over year. Now, I can say this now, 10 years in, that a lot of the people that we help buy and sell in year 1, 2, and 3 are now repeat clients, people that have referred us, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well. So the way that the Golden Handoff works, and the reason why I think it's been so widely adopted, is because it's basically a referral agreement. You don't have to come up with a bunch of money up front. You don't have to try to get an appraisal of what the business is worth. And I'm going to explain why I don't believe that's very accurate in the case of real estate, and why I believe a referral model like the one in the Golden Handoff is by far the best, most fair model for both the adopting agent and the retiring agent. So the way it works is that for all of the people in the database, for the first year of the agreement, there's a 30% referral fee. In year 2, it's a 20% referral fee. Year 3, it's 10. And year 4, it goes to 0. For any new referrals that are not already in the database that come from the retiring agent, I offer a 20% referral. There's other folks out there that do 25 or 30. That's up to you, but that's the model I use, and it's been working really well. So basically, it's a 3-year agreement. The other agent has to stay licensed in some state. It doesn't have to be the same state, but somewhere where they can receive referral income legally. And again, that's not that big of a deal to renew your license once or twice, especially if the income is where I believe it can be. So I mentioned, why not sell outright? This is a big question I get. And the reason is that it's very difficult to predict the value of a database. From the perspective of the agent who is taking over, you don't really know how strong that retiring agent's relationships are with their clients. You know, you don't know if they are, the clients are very happy. You don't know how much they're getting in referrals. You can only look at the client list and say, in any given year, how many of the transactions you do come from past clients or referrals from past clients. That's going to be the best indicator of how strong that agent's relationships are with their past clients. Now, if you're the retiring agent and you're going to hand off your business, you're also relying on the adopting agent. So if you see AA effort, that stands for adopting agent. And when you see RA, it stands for retiring agent. So the adopting agent has to make the calls, has to send the newsletters, needs to go on the appointments, get the listings, help the buyers find the homes, negotiate the purchases, and see them through to closing. And so the effort of the adopting agent could be more than the effort you were putting in. It could be the same, or maybe they're busier and have more people, run their business a little bit differently. But that's a variable that affects the value of that business. And then, of course, we have the market. You know, here it is, 2010. Most of the country has been on an 8-year upswing. Obviously, there is a lot of volatility and unknowns right now with COVID-19 and with a lot of civil unrest in the entire country right now. Interest rates have been incredibly variable. They've stabilized as of this presentation, but those things affect it. So keep in mind, 2010 to 2012, I took over, I believe, 4 businesses. We were taking over businesses at the bottom of the real estate market, right? The things started to kind of come down in 2007. I believe in the Northwest, our bottom of our market was March of 2012. So I was taking over businesses where the average price was much lower, I think close to half of what it is today. Now, the value of each of those clients today is double what it was 8 years ago, because we get paid on commission. And so if the average home is twice as much and our average sales price is following along with that, the value of your business goes up. So those are all the reasons why it's very difficult to say what a business is worth. Another factor that was very much in play for us when we started taking over businesses is that a lot of our clients in 2012 and 13 and 14 were underwater. Their homes were worth less than they had paid and less than they owed. And they wanted to work with us and they wanted to sell, but they were stuck. They had to wait until they came back into equity and above water. And so as the years passed, we helped more and more of those folks. As our market improved, more and more of our clients had equity and were able to sell and relocate or change school districts or change property types within the city. So let's talk about the money. Now, there's more than one source. Now, when we talk about direct income, that's from the clients and the retiring agents. So that's deals you do with people that are in the database. So anytime someone in the database buys or sells in those first 3 years, the retiring agent gets a referral fee. And again, the way I do it is a step down. And there's more that happens though. So if you're the adopting agent, you get the opportunity to help all of those people, which is a huge opportunity. So now you've got 300 new clients. You get to help them. They say people move about every 10 years. So there's a potential there for 30 people that might be moving that year. But every time you get a new listing, every time you work with a new buyer, you get to do a lot of other marketing and outreach to make new clients. So I call that indirect or secondary income. Those are sign calls you get on your listings. That's people that respond to postcards you mail. That's calling around a listing to let people know there's a new house for sale in their neighborhood. That's open houses. That's door knocking. That's all the things you do to increase your business every time you have a new listing that you get to do. And also, if you're working with buyers, referrals from those buyers to their friends and family and coworkers. Now, as you're staying in touch with people in the database, you're also going to get referrals, so adopted referrals. Those are referrals that come from people in the database. And so long as they're not referring you someone else that's already in the database, which can happen when you have groups of people that are related, as long as it's a referral to someone that's not in the database, those are deals you get and keep 100% of the income. Same thing with indirect or secondary income. That's all based on the work you're doing. So that's sign calls you're getting for the listings you're doing, that's postcards you're sending, that's marketing you're doing to meet new people. Those are all clients you get to keep 100% of the fees. Same with adopted referrals. Now, I would argue that for almost anyone, if you adopt a database, that the number of people that retiring agent is referring to you is probably the most referrals you've gotten from any one person in your whole career. And so when you think of it that way, it's important to look at those retiring agents as your best clients, because there's no one that's probably going to be able to refer as many clients to you as that retiring agent. And if they're well taken care of, you stay in touch, they hopefully will have more people they talk to, people that call them and refer people to them that they can then refer to you. And again, any of those people you want to add to the database and pay a referral fee on the first deal they do, just like you would for any referral from any agent. So how many deals can you expect? Now, I used 200 clients in this example just to make the math a little bit easier. But if you have a database of 200 clients, and that retiring agent, on average, 75% of their business comes from repeat and referral clients, then you can figure out that there's basically 150 people in that database that are probably going to work with you because you've been endorsed and referred by that retiring agent. Now, everyone doesn't move every year. That's one of the things about real estate that's tricky, is that we have to stay in touch over the 10 years or 15 years between moves so that people remember that we're here to help them and that they refer us or call us when they're ready to make a move. So if there's 150 people that are likely to repeat or refer you, and the average time between moves is 10 years, you can say that there's probably about 15 transactions per year that you can expect from that database of 200 clients. Now on goldenhandoff.com, I'll mention this now and I'll mention it again at the end. We have a calculator that I developed where you can put in the number of repeat and referral transactions you do in a year and your average commission, and it will show you what your business is worth to you as a retiring agent, but also what it is worth to an adopting agent. So you put in the numbers once, you can see the formulas based on our assumptions in our model in the book, and it does all the math for you. So this will tell you about how many deals you can do per year. The other model will show you how much money you can make when you retire, or how much you could potentially make by helping people who are looking to retire and adopting their business. All right, so if you are looking to grow your business, how do you find these folks who are retiring? Now keep in mind, this book has been out for about 5 years, but this is still a relatively new concept in the the scope of hundreds of years of real estate. And so there's a lot of agents who are retiring and still just walking away from their business, not doing anything with it. And the best way to help find people and help their clients is to let them know about this process. So number one, the best place is going to be your brokerage. So let your team leader or managing broker, reviewing broker, whatever they're called in your market, know that you are interested in helping adopt the clients of agents who are retiring. And there's no one that knows more about who's coming and going in the brokerage than the broker themselves. And so you can help by making sure that when someone is saying that they want to retire or they're going to be moving out of town, that your broker helps connect you with those folks so you can share this idea and offer to help their clients. If you're at a smaller brokerage or if you want to expand your reach, being involved in your realtor association, especially if you're involved in kind of the leadership and the organization, can help connect you with a bigger network of people, a lot of whom are kind of the movers and shakers, and also let them know, hey, if you or someone you know is looking to retire or you plan to move out of the market, I would love to help you. And then I put in community as well. What I mean by community is if there's an active broker tour, if there's a networking group, those types of places, anywhere where you can kind of connect with more realtors is a great way to do it. And obviously, if you're in production, keeping track of the agents that you enjoy working with. If anyone's mentioned, they're looking to get out of the business or they're almost done, to bring up this topic and offer to have coffee or lunch and share the book and share the idea. You can also market for people. I've talked to a couple agents who are doing Facebook and Instagram marketing to find agents and let them know about this process, that they're interested in helping their clients and sending referral fees. I think that you want to treat retiring agents just like you would a seller of a home. Sometimes you talk to someone and they're ready to go right now, but oftentimes we talk to folks and they're thinking that they'll move, but maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 5 years when their kids are done with high school. And so part of it is just staying in touch and being consistent. I also recommend sharing testimonials from the people you're already working with. So if you have an agent whose business you've adopted and it's going very well and they're very happy, ask them to write a testimonial about their experience and share that and have it so you can share it when you're meeting with people who are thinking about retiring, that you've helped other folks and that it's going well and they're happy they did it. The third level you can do to find people who are retiring is using broker analytics software to look at production. So if you have agents in your market who are perennial top producers and all of a sudden they go from doing $40 million a year to $30 million a year to $20 million a year, that's usually a clear sign that they're looking to retire and they're phasing out of their business. And it's important that you connect and do a golden handoff before they completely stop. Because what happens is as that business winds down, those clients don't disappear, they simply start working with other people. And so the more people that are still working with that retiring agent, the more likely you're going to have success and be able to keep more of those clients in the future. If you are looking to retire, you'll need to find adopting agents. And here's the best ways to find them. First of all, I have some criteria I recommend. Number one is experience. You want to make sure that they can list and sell. You don't want to teach someone how to do a listing, how to market a property, how to run a business, or how to help buyers. You want them to already know how to do that well. Doesn't mean they need to be in the business as long as you. Doesn't need to mean they need to be in the business really any more than a couple years. But if they've made it a couple years and they've grown the business and they're good at their job, they should be able to help you as well. And you can start focusing on how to market to the clients, not how to do real estate transactions. Number two, do they have the resources? Do they have the time, the money, the team to grow their business? So keep in mind, if you're retiring and you have 300 clients and the agent you want to have help take over your business has 300 clients, you're going to double the size of their business. That's going to take more time. It's going to take more marketing money, and they might potentially need to hire agents to help with the extra work. Number three, are they ethical? Do they do honest dealings? Unfortunately, not just, you can't just look at production as a sign that people are honest people. There are some successful people that cut corners and aren't the most honest and ethical. You want to make sure that your clients are with someone they can trust and that you can trust that you're going to be paid on the deals that they do. And number 4 is their energy. Do you like this person? Do you think your clients are going to like them? Do you think it's a good fit? Now, what I don't mean is, are they an exact copy of you? Because we are all different. And what makes us good at realtors, as realtors, is not that we are exactly like a different realtor. It's that we're able to relate to different personality types. So just because you might have a different personality type than a really good adopting agent doesn't mean that you won't be successful in a handoff. What matters more is that even if you have different personality types, that both you and the adopting agent are good at dealing with different client personality types. So keep that in mind, because most realtors are very social-driven people, but I've known some great agents who are top producers who are much more cautious and less effusive, and definitely not super driven, but just very focused on taking care of clients and running a good business. Different personality types can both be successful as long as they can relate to all the different client personality types. All right, here's who not to hire. Number 1, I wouldn't recommend you hire your friend unless your friend is going to treat this as a serious business endeavor. Oftentimes when you work with friends or family, they can be kind of casual about the work they do, and this is way too important to have someone that's taking it kind of lax. So if you're going to have a friend help, make sure that they know that you expect them to do the calls, set the appointments, and be accountable for their results. A lot of folks look at their assistant as a perfect person to take over. They already know your clients, they know your business, they help you run it. That all works great, but the problem is your assistant is probably paid on salary, and they're probably not in charge of any sales. So if you have one of those rare assistants where they can also succeed in the sales world and on the commission world, I would recommend that you move them from the back office to the front office, as it were, and have them start working on the sales side before you decide to have them take over. And before you do that, make sure that's something that they want to do. Being in real estate has incredible opportunity, but it comes with risks and it comes with downside, and not everyone wants that. A lot of times people that work as assistants are looking to have a more steady income and a more consistent world than agents who are willing to win big, but also take the risk that they might not get paid that month or next month. The third person is that charismatic new agent. There's always the rookie of the year, the new person, and while they might be great at sales and people might really like them, it doesn't mean that they're ready to grow a business or manage a business, and it doesn't mean they're going to stay in the business long term. So if you're going to look at having someone who's new, make sure that they have the business skills to grow a business and to take care of more clients. Number 4, the agent that just needs more business, the person that's struggling. Now, I don't want to beat up on people if they're down, but there's usually a reason why someone is struggling, and having more clients isn't necessarily going to solve the problem. So if you're doing that, there better be a very good reason why they've had a struggle or why their business is down, and it needs to be something that they've resolved. And just handing them more clients isn't going to make someone show up early to work. It's not going to make them call people back. It's not going to make them show up early and work hard at getting better at their skills and their business. But what most people do is they hire no one. And so I hope that that's not you, because for the very small amount of time it takes to find a good agent to help you manage your clients, your return can be amazing, and your clients will thank you. The last thing in the world anyone wants to do when they have an agent that they like and trust is to all of a sudden have to go find a new agent to work with. If they like you and they work with you and your business has a high degree of repeat and referral clients, they would much rather work with someone that you refer and endorse than have to go out and interview people from scratch without having any background on if they're good, bad, and how long they've been in the business. So if you do this, I guarantee you your clients will thank you, and you will absolutely earn referral income if you pick the right adopting agent. So here's how it works. So if you're looking to retire, you connect with a successful agent to adopt your clients. That's your adopting agent. You go over your database, you sign the contract to work together. You're basically signing a referral agreement to hand over all your clients. And then you're going to announce to your clients you're retiring and that the adopting agent will be taking care of them going forward. Now, There's a lot of different ways that we communicate with our clients. And so based on how you stay in touch with your clients, that's how you want to let them know. I would say at a minimum, you want to email everyone and you want to send them a letter in the mail, hard mail. So when you do that, make sure that that email comes from the retiring agent and make sure the letter is on the retiring agent's letterhead. So even if the adopting agent facilitates that, it needs to be coming from the retiring agent because that's who the clients know. That's who they have the relationship with. Now, there's a lot of other ways to do this. You could send video emails. You could do YouTube videos. You can do information, photos, videos, all kinds of stuff on social media platforms. And so I have no agenda on which platform you use or which process you use. It's just that however you stay in touch with your people, however you stay in front of your clients, those are all the places you want to connect with them and let them know about this change. Now, once you've done that, the adopting agent is going to call, email, and communicate with your clients. Again, just you have to look at the retiring agent and how they've stayed in touch with their clients. The adopting agent needs to at least manage to keep up with those. For most people, that's going to be email, newsletters. It's going to be mailed out newsletters and letters. It's going to be phone calls. It's going to be text messages. And for a lot of people now, it's going to be communicating via social media. And once you do that, the adopting agent's taking over. They're managing your clients now, and you collect referral fees on closed deals over those next 3 years. As much as you want to stay connected and in touch with your people, you can get new referrals if you stay in the community where your retiring agent, adopting agent rather, is. If you stay in the same community where your business was, you have the opportunity to meet new people and refer them over to the adopting agent. Now, the most important thing you're doing here, all the proof of your business, all of the info about it is your database, your client list. Now, different people use different database systems, but at the end of the day, it can all be exported to Excel, and it can be imported into a different platform. So basically, there's two types of categories I want to make sure I explain. A, B, and C is kind of the classic way that people categorize databases. And what A, B, and C means is your A clients are the most likely to work with you, refer you, or they're people that are actively working with you and referring you. B clients are people that know you and you think they might work with you, but you're not sure. C clients are people that are somehow in your database. You're not really sure who they are. They might not be really sure who you are, but there's a chance you could win them over. So that's all about your strength of relationship. Now, we try to use that, but we also try to understand who our clients are and what they're going to do next. And the best way to do that is to have descriptive tags. So are they an investor? Is it a friend? Is it a past client? Are they interested in residential property, commercial property? Are they an investor? Is it a home builder? Are they part of a social group? Is it part of your church? Or is it a golf friend? Is it part of a farm? So those are the types of things you want to do to organize your clients so you can best communicate with them. And as much as you can, you want to know in your own database, for before you retire, you want to know this, but if you're retiring and you haven't really organized it, it'll be good to go through and identify who's who so that the adopting agent best knows how to stay in touch. You'll need the names of all the people in the household, phone numbers of how to communicate, so usually work and cell phone. Most people don't have home phones. Email obviously is important, whether it's work or personal, and then you'll need to know their address of where you can mail things to them. And if they have investment properties, it would be great to know the addresses of their investment properties as well. The other thing that's important is, as much as possible, to have notes on who they are and what their timing is. So let's say they bought their house in 2012. They might buy again in 2016. They asked about an investment property. So if this is a database I'm taking over today in 2020, I might ask, hey, did they actually buy a property in 2016? Or maybe they're still looking. Did they buy an investment property? Are they still looking for investment property? So those are all the things you want to know. And if you don't have great notes, and even if you do, I always recommend that the adopting agent and retiring agent sit down together with a printout of the database, usually in Excel, just to make sure it's on as few pages as possible, and go through those clients and try to help the adopting agent understand who you think is going to buy or sell next, and if there's notes about that person that would be helpful in staying in touch with them. Now, here are some great resources I'm going to share with you: the contract, the announcement letter, and the script I use. Now, some of you on your computers, or if you're on your phone, this might be very difficult to read. So if you go to goldenhandoff.com, and if you scroll down and just put in your name and email, you'll get an email back from me today with a link to download Word doc and publisher file copies of all of this information so that you can download it, edit it, and put it to work for your business today if you'd like. So the first thing is the contract. So the contract is basically a referral agreement that says in year one, you're going to get 30% of the commissions that we close. And I put in the specific dates. So this is August 1st to July 31st. You don't want to just say year one because you don't want to have a disagreement of when it starts or when it stops. So again, year two, 20% of the commissions, you have the exact date range, and then 10%. For new referrals, we do 20%. Again, you could agree to 25 or 30 if that's what you choose. And here's what we're going to do. The retiring agent has to keep a real estate license so I can send referral fees. Doesn't have to be in the same state. They can move across country and get licensed in a different place or just maintain their license in their home state. And then if anyone reaches out to them, we ask that they continue to endorse us and let us know so that we can reach out. Because sometimes people will still call the agent. That's the number they've got saved in their phone. That's totally fine. But if the retiring agent gets calls and people need something, we know they're not going to actually go show property, but let us know as soon as possible so we can help and take care of it. And we're agreeing to execute the marketing plan. Now, one other thing I recommend in the book is that when you go over the database, that you have an agreement of what that marketing plan is. And so I like to know what has that retiring agent done to be successful and share what we do every year for each client that maintains our success. And I would even say that it's worth attaching that as an exhibit to the contract so that it's really crystal clear how many times a year you're going to call the clients, how many times a year they're going to get emailed, how many times a year they're going to get mail pieces, and how many times a year they're going to be invited to a client party or trainings or volunteer days, whatever it is you do for your community. So here's an announcement letter. This is one from way back when. Basically it says, hey, I am going to be working with a new realtor. I'm going to be in this role. This team is led by me, Nick, and he's the top best person ever, and here's all the things that they've done. So this is a little bit about the adopting agent. And in this case, depending on if the agent who's retiring wants to stay somewhat involved, we either say so or we say, hey, I'm going to be moving to South America. I'm going to throw my phone in the ocean when I get there. So if you need anything, just call Nick. If you're going to stay involved, I always put in here that you can still reach out to the retiring agent to ask questions and get advice, and then hopefully quickly get referred over to the adopting agent. Now here's the script. This is pretty simple, and I'm going to wrap up after we do this because I want to give us some time for Q&A. So keep in mind that by the time the adopting agent is calling their new clients, they've gotten an email from their retiring agent, they've gotten a letter from their retiring agent, and they've probably seen some things on social media. And all of those pieces are going to say, hey, I'm retiring, Nick's going to take over, and he's going to stay in touch, and he's going to call you. And so when I do this, I say, hey, this is Nick with Keller Williams. I promised your realtor I'd call and check in and see if you had any real estate questions or needs that I can help with. That's it. Very simple. Hi, this is Nick. I promised your realtor I'd call and check in and see if he had any questions or needs I can help with. Now, if they have an immediate need, that's easy. You just take some notes, you set the appointment, you go be a realtor and do your job. A lot of people, though, 9 out of 10 people, probably 19 out of 20 people aren't going to need something today. That's fine. I'm glad to hear you're happy with your home, and then have a stat about the market. Did you know the market's up over 10% over last year? And FYI, I'm going to be staying in touch. You're going to get my newsletter and monthly emails. Thanks for taking my call, and I look forward to helping you if there's anything you ever need, even if it's just a referral for a plumber. Before I let you go, I wanted to ask who else you know that might be buying or selling that I can be of service to. Now, you're going to be introducing yourself to your 300 new clients. It's always good to check in, see if they have any needs, have an information about the market, and then assuming that they don't really need anything right now and they're not really interested about what's going on in the market, just to let them know you'll stay in touch and ask if they have any friends or family that have needs that you can help with. Well, guys, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed sharing this with you, and I hope you put this into practice. Here's all of my information. And again, the link to the book, goldenhandoff.com. You can buy it there or on Amazon, and it also is an audible version if you prefer to listen to books. You can get that as well and hear my voice for, I think, about 4 hours. And we are working on a workbook edition of the Golden Handoff that will be coming out this year. So if you sign up at Golden Handoff, you'll be the first to know about it. We're hoping to have that out in the next couple months. I also have a couple free white papers you can get. One of them is about teams, and one of them is an investing and market report that we publish. You can see copies of those and read that for free at sellpdx.com/team and sellpdx.com/report. So I hope you sign up so we can stay in touch. And Brittany, if we're able, let's start taking some questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. That was such a wonderful presentation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
This was great. I do want to make a note, just in case if anybody does have to jump off of the call. Please note that this webinar session was recorded, and we will make it available for your review as well as the presentation on Friday, June 19th. The website that you're going to want to go visit, and I'll make sure to include it in the chat after we finish Q&A, is nar.realtor/CSSW/webinars. So if you do have a question, we're still taking a couple. Just submit one into the queue, and let's get started. So Nick, here's our first question that we have. Earlier you mentioned there was a calculator and a resource that you can provide. Could you actually repeat the web address for that calculator that helps you determine the value of your business?
Absolutely, yeah. It's goldenhandoff.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see right on the top menu, there'll be a link to the calculator. It's right next to the home button, about in the middle of the menu. So you should be able to just click on that. And then, like I said, you just need to know the number of repeat and referral clients you or the retiring agent help per year and your average commission. And it will create the profit, net profit to the retiring agent and gross profit to the adopting agent over the 3-year contract period. And you can actually email that to yourself or share it with, you could email it to the other realtor if you wanted to as well.
Okay. And is there a code that members listening in, do they need to insert a code for anything?
Nope. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we still have some copies that are for the NAR leadership for the ebook, but if you scroll down, you'll see if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see free bonus content and for contract scripts and checklists, and you just need your name and email and hit submit, and it'll send you a link to get access to that. So there is a password on that page, but once you put your email and name in, it'll email you back instantly with the link and the password to access all of the Word docs and publisher files of all that. And as we add more content and update things, we update it there as well for you.
Okay, perfect. One other question came in, and it was about the contracts that you use with retiring agents. Is there a way that members listening in can also get access to that, and where they could find that on your website?
Yeah, so that is in the book itself. But again, the best way to get it is if just sign up for the email list on goldenhandoff.com, and you'll get a link to download the actual contract I use. I recommend people have an attorney look at it. Different states have different rules.
Right.
that contract, while I think it covers everything you want it to, it doesn't cover everything. And so any specific concerns you might have, you would want to make sure that you add that in. But that'll give you the basic framework. So I would use that as an example. But that is the exact contract I use when I take over businesses. The one there is the one that I have signed copies of with other agents. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Nick. Here's another question that came in. Do you have any tips on how a brokerage could scale this to create a succession plan program, maybe for their agents?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a great idea, and I definitely have been talking to owners of different franchises and brokerages to help them implement this for their whole company. And the best way to do this is to make sure that when people are giving you notice that they're leaving the company or that they're planning to retire or take a time off or move to a different state, that you connect them with an agent in your office that wants to grow their business. And if you have a big enough office, you can even have your staff let's help them build their database and update it so that information is more accurate, and then to help facilitate the process of connecting the retiring agents with other agents that want to adopt more clients and grow their business. And what that does is, instead of losing market share every time an agent retires or goes back to a different career or leaves the state, you have the ability then to try to keep those clients within the brokerage with other agents. And it's a huge value add to the agents that are staying there, that are trying to grow their business, because not only are you helping them with their branding and marketing and their business and managing their files, but now you're helping them actually get clients and grow their client list, which is about as tangible of a benefit as you can have, is helping someone actually grow their business.
Right. Those are some great points. So to add to that too, let's say you're new to the industry and you're looking for more business. Can you recommend some great tips or business skills that this agent should be working on so that way they can gain another agent's trust to get their book of business or referrals? What are some things that you could point out that newer agents should definitely consider?
I think, I recommend to all new agents to really commit to working hard and to always being a student. So to really invest in your education as an agent, to learn the best way to work with buyers, learn the best ways to work with sellers, make sure you know how to market homes well, make sure that you are building a database, even if it starts with 10 people or 5 people. There's a couple really good programs I'll mention to you. One is called Cloze, C-L-O-Z-E, and the other one is called Contactually. And I recommend those to our new agents and to agents who are rebooting their business, because those are database programs that will take the information from your social media accounts and your phone and an existing database and put it all in one spot and kind of help you build a database without having to manually put all of the information in. And so those are very powerful tools that you can use to build your own database and stay in touch with it, but also to help agents who are retiring, because many of them won't have a very good database, or they might have a database that isn't that updated. And that's a way to help update those so that when you're calling and emailing and sending letters, that it's hopefully getting to the right people.
Right. What about any CRMs? Do you use any in particular?
We do. So we use those programs to help people put databases together. And again, I would say the database program that's going to be best for you is the one that you consistently use. So if it's too complicated, or it does too much, or if it doesn't do the things you want, you're not going to use it. And so to make sure you get a program that does the things you need it to for where you're at in your career, I would say no matter what program you use, always do a sample export, because you want to make sure that you can export that data, including your notes, in case you want to switch in the future to a different program. We made the mistake years ago of working with a program where we weren't able to export our data in full. And so when we switched over, we lost some of our notes on our clients that I would really love to have. So that's one thing I recommend to people. We use a program called Follow Up Boss, and I like that because it works particularly well with teams, and we have different agents that have different roles and responsibilities at my team.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Nick. And if anybody does have, specific questions for Nick and any of the tools or resources that he uses, please feel free to email him so that way he's not endorsing a particular product or service, just to cover himself. And Nick, I do have a couple more questions before our time ends. So
excellent.
You did mention earlier about, let's say, you're selling your book of business, and you did mention, maybe to shy away from, using a relative, but do you have any special comments if you are working with a great relative when, that agent is ready to pass along the business to them? What do you suggest to make sure that, they have everything they need to be successful?
Yeah, so I when I say that, I don't mean you shouldn't do it always. I think that if you're going to do it, and we see it a lot where it's pretty common where a child will take over a parent's business at some point. I think it can be very successful. What I caution people is that I really recommend that you make sure that the person who's taking over, whether they're family or not, that you set the expectation that they're going to be accountable to do the activities you expect them to do, so that they're going to make time to call an additional 300 people twice a year, that they're going to budget the money to send the newsletter, that they're going to continue to update the retiring agent on progress and on people they're helping. And so that's really the thing that's most important, is that whether it's a family member or a friend, that they're going to be accountable to doing the work that it's going to take for it to be successful.
Wow, that's some great points. Thank you, Nick. Wrapping up 2 more questions. What are some common mistakes that realtors may fail to consider when selling their book of business?
So I think taking the time to really make sure your database is as updated as possible will give you and the retiring agent the best chance of success. And that's not fun to do that, but it is really important. The other thing I see a lot is I think a lot of agents feel like no one else could possibly connect with their clients like they have. And the truth is we are all replaceable. That can sound very humbling, but if you just stopped tomorrow, you can't assume that your clients will never move again. Your clients already know other realtors. They have friends who have people that they've worked with they really like that they can refer. And so you are absolutely replaceable. And I think a lot of agents don't pick an agent to take over their business because they just don't think it will work. But the truth is all of your clients are going to pick a different realtor. And at least in this case, you can find one you believe will do a good job and get something for it. So I would say that's the biggest mistake people make, is that they think, well, my clients only want to work with me. But if you're going to retire, they will find someone else, and at least you can pick the person who replaces you.
Good point. No, that's really good. So last question, and then we'll wrap up. For agents who are farming, how do you handle, a handoff when it's an agent who has more than one farm?
Sure, that's a great question. So if that's really critical to the success of that business, the adopting agent would need to agree to continue marketing to that farm. And I have done that before. One of them, a business we took over, had a very large farm of apartment owners, which is a part of our business. And so we had a different referral fee for the people in the farm, because effectively I could recreate the farm tomorrow and it would be the same basically, because unless that agent has marketed to that farm for years and years and years, it doesn't really, it's still marketing more than it is a relationship. Now, if someone does a lot of business in a certain neighborhood and they've been marketing to that farm for, say, 10 years or, for any multiple year period of time, I would recommend that you don't just switch it to the new agent overnight. You would want to co-market for probably a year or so that those potential clients and those people that are in the farm will connect you with the retiring agent and vice versa, so that in the future, if you're calling or you get a listing in the neighborhood and you're marketing to that farm, that they understand that you're not just a new agent that's marketing to them, but it's that you're connected and related to the retiring agent.
All right, perfect. We did run a little over on time, so I do apologize. So members, if we did not get a chance to answer your question, please send us an email at financialwellness@nar.realtor. Nick, if you could leave us with one more point or a closing statement, what would that one statement be, or last takeaway?
So I'm going to give you two things to do today. So if you want to use this to grow your business, today I want you to write down the names of 5 agents whose businesses you admire, people that you know that you would love to take over their business, and to reach out to them today and ask, what is your plan when you're done selling real estate? And most of them won't have a plan, and you'll be able to set an appointment. Sharing the book is a great way to start that conversation as well. It's a real cheap piece of marketing for something that could make you tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. If you're a retiring agent, I'd write down the names of 3 people who you think could do a great job taking over your business and ask them if they're looking to continue to grow their business and if they'd be open to talking to you about taking over and adopting your clients. And start those conversations today. I'm sure that it's something that will, if it doesn't change your life for the better today or this week, it will in the years to come, and there's no better time to start than today.
Perfect. Nick, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So just as a friendly reminder, we just want to let you, anybody who's listening in still on the call, we do have additional resources to provide it to you through NAR's Right Tools Right Now resource. It's a relaunch program which includes no-cost tools to support you through challenging times, and this site includes webinars, educational resources, and timely market reports for your business. So you'll just visit nar.realtor, RTRN. So we just want to say for everyone who joined us, thank you so much for your time. This concludes our webinar, and special thanks to Nick as well as our members. And if you've missed any part of this webinar session, we will be posting the recording as well as the PowerPoint under nar.realtor/CFFW/webinars. I repeat, the recording will be available for your review on Friday, June 19th at nar.realtor/CFFW/webinars. So at the end of this session, a survey bar is going to pop up on your desktop browser. Please leave us your feedback on today's presentation. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you can attend our next Financial Source webinar session on June 30th at 1 p.m. Central. Thanks so much, and have a good one. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Bye.